Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics, the competitive Kill Team 40k podcast and YouTube channel, focused on giving you the strategies and tactics to Siege Initiative every turning point. I'm your host Ryan, and I'm here to give you the tips and tricks to elevate every part of your Kill Team experience. If you enjoy this content and you want more, you can join our Patreon for as little as £3 a month, where you'll get access to our Discord, patron priority questions, early access to videos including Kill Team bat reps, faction guides, and much more. If that's not for you, you can support just by hitting like, subscribe, and sharing these videos amongst the community of Kill Team enthusiasts local to you. Finally, if you're looking to buy some new miniatures or paints, you can buy them through Element Games, getting a 15% discount, and if you use our affiliate link below, you'll support the show as well. With all that said, let's get into it. Okay, into the B tier. So these are above average. These are the guys that have something that's going to help you potentially get an advantage in a game, but you know that they're not going to be anything too wild. So let's start with the weakest of B tier is Hierotech Circles. So there is a caveat in this, all right, which is they're not particularly reliable, and they have some difficult matchups at the top, but they also kind of have the tools to deal with those matchups. So I'm debating these guys being the bottom of B tier or top of C tier, but I put them here for now. So against like the melee teams that are out there, they have the ability to slow everyone down, which is really useful. I know a lot of people are sort of saying, oh, you know, against Inquisition, they're going to turn off your reanimation protocols. Like, yeah, sure, but like also, I think you just have to play that matchup as if you don't have them, right? So like it and that sounds horrible, but you can give your team a 3-up invulnerable save and a 4-up invulnerable save, and Inquisition don't have like reliable AP. All of it like is hitting on 4s with maybe one reroll. They might roll hot, sure, but at least then you've got your saves. So, you know, in that instance, I think you just have to play that matchup like you are a standard elite team. And just try and see what you can do, which I know is probably a pretty rough thing to say to someone, but that's where it is. And then, yeah, like if you can just like really slow down the movement of those melee teams and just try and do some ball control and get the points, then away you go. But I acknowledge that those are not good matchups for them. But they have better matchups into most of the other fields. So that's kind of like where I see them sitting at the moment. But, you know, if someone wants to say to me that they're C tier because of those matchups, I wouldn't disagree, you know. But I feel like they're there or thereabouts. Reliability would be nice. And I also think that maybe just playing them with more Immortals is kind of the way to go. Like I know the Apprentech gives access to more Cryptech actions, and you can shoot through them with your other guy and get some ceaseless and whatever else, or sort of cult ambush. But I just feel like you just need more killing potential, and running like against Horde teams, 5 Immortals with blades, and then a lethal 5 hitting on 4s, 3-4 damage. That works pretty well. And against mid-range, you have the Gorse weapons with 4-5 damage AP1, which works pretty well. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. But I can see an argument both ways for this team. Okay. The Intercession Squad, my poor Black Templars, the boys in blue, everyone would call them. I think these guys now are, I think they're B tier. I was again. There's another team I'm tempted to put into C tier, but they now have one play style, which is fine. I think that is their most competitive play style, is to go effectively full shooty, which is okay. The problem is that I think that they're gonna struggle a lot. Like. And we'll get into this when we get to the higher tiers of the game. I didn't really understand why this was the problem child, if that made sense. Like, if the answer is that this team is difficult to play against as a new player, then there's so many other teams that need addressing as well. So let's go with that. So if they were slightly too oppressive to play against for new players and that sort of stuff in your local meta, fine. Like, I think you'll just see people running rapid and durable, and it will be pretty much the same. I think at the higher level play, people were running methodical because that was better for your setting up Overwatch and Wrath of Vengeance shots and that sort of stuff. But now people are just going to have to budget effectively for and they shall know no fear, which is fine, you know. But you've just taken a whole bunch of killing power out of the team. So the whole CP budgeting for them is very different now. So just something to be aware of. But I also think this now means that you don't have the CP to like ever change chapter tactics at the start. Not I would recommend that you do, but like if you do that, going down to 6 CP for the rest of the game is just rough. Like particularly when you need to budget for doctrines, you need to budget for a nation know no fear, and you need to budget for probably some shoot and death or fight in the turning point. So that's where I think they sit now. Into Legionary. So Legionary are your staple choice of, they have so much flex in amongst their kill team. They can really do a lot with what they have. And I think they're now in a better place than Intercession. So I know that matchup is routinely fought out and people sort of play it both ways, but I think they have the ability to, for instance, take on Beastmen better than anyone else, really, with their with the Slaanesh plays that we've talked about previously. I think Nurgle is your go-to for the rest of the matchup. And I know they have some pretty rough matchups in versus Kazakin and Inquisition, that sort of stuff. Like their matchup versus Inquisition is disgusting. And that needs to be addressed. But for the rest of the game, I actually think that they're still okay. They haven't lost a lot of their main key strengths. They just have some weird matchups that have arrived at the top of the meta, which makes it really hard for them to play against. So sitting a B tier, but I think these guys play better than Intercession now. Top of B tier then is going to be Blooded. I really like this team is a lot of fun to play. All right, so if you've ever played Blooded or even played against Blooded, they're fun to play, right? Because the whole mechanic of I want to try and kill people and I want to die as as efficiently as possible is just fun, right? So if you're playing against a whole bunch of guys that just run at you and want to die and want to blow up and want to kill stuff, that's an enjoyable play style. And they have loads of good ways of doing it. And I think the melee reliability that they can get from adding Relentless to multiple models is really nice. The -1 attack is really nice. Seek and Destroy is in a great place now. So overall, they're in a pretty good place, and I can see them doing well. The only downside is when you start playing against top opponents, they know how to focus on those Blooded tokens, right? So, and if they play it well, they're going to try and stop you from ever getting Gaze of the Gods, or at least not getting Gaze of the Gods until turning point 3, where the game could be decided, right? So, that's kind of where I think they're not quite at the A tier yet, but I think they're in a good place where they are, and you can do absolutely fine with them. That brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you found something new or useful while listening, and if you did, throwing us a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as the next one drops. It really is the best way to help a small channel like ours. And if you can't wait and you do want early access, we have a Patreon where you get exclusive access to all our content ahead of time. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. So drop a comment below and we'll get right to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host Ryan. This has been Turning Point Tactics, and we'll see you next week.